Doghouse Racing League is proud to be sponsored by Shoney's. Shoney's is today's all-American kitchen, open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Shoney's guests can count on quality, delicious food along with warm, friendly service. Stop by one of the West Virginia locations to try their freshly prepared legendary breakfast bars. And don't forget to take home a whole strawberry pie. Shoney's, delicious food and friendly service since 1947. Are you looking for sports merchandise for your favorite teams, apparel, jerseys, headwear, hard goods, and looking to be involved with NASCAR? Fanatics is your one-stop shop. Fanatics is partnered up with all major professional sports leagues, as well as hundreds of collegiates and pro teams. Join them now at Fanatics. And if you use the link down below in the description, you'll be able to help out the Doghouse Racing League. While using that link, all commissions go to the Doghouse Racing League, which helps fund prizes and goods for the drivers out on track. Thank you so much for Fanatics, and enjoy the show! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Thursday night. Sorry for a little bit of a delayed start. We had some technical issues that are fixed, and we are ready to give you tonight's racing action for the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series Season 1 of 2024. The drivers get themselves prepared for Texas Speedway as they head to the Texas Shindig 180 at Texas Speedway. It's going to be a fun one for all these drivers here tonight. It's going to be a tough track, probably one of the tougher mile-and-a-half courses that you're going to be seeing on the schedule. And all the field is ready to see who can keep their vehicles underneath them. We got a few newcomers, a few drivers coming back that haven't been here since the start of the season. And of course, who will dominate the points at the end of the night. My name is Sam Dyer. Welcome to Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Joining me up the booth is going to be Zach Hall. Zach, Texas, it's going to be a fun race to watch. We kind of got a little bit of a preview ourselves running a kind of a fun off-season race yesterday for WSSR, kind of proving that this track is going to be tough, but luckily it's an open setup league.
That it is, open setup. Going to change a lot of things for sure. We were definitely fighting those cars last night at this Texas Motor Speedway, and I'm sure we'll see the same condition here, but a little bit quicker, of course, with those open setups, and a little bit more aggressive with the setup. So the handling conditions could be better, or maybe that much more worse. So we'll see who really nails that certain condition. But qualifying, I think, going to be just coming to its final close here as we've just got in, and it was a very interesting one, to say the least.
Certainly going to be a fun one to look at as we're about to head down to trackside here shortly. Missing qualifying, so guess what? The qualifying results are going to be fun and interesting because it's going to be an unknown mystery until we get ourselves getting ready for racing action. But currently the drivers are going to have a 5-minute warm-up period to get themselves prepared for this race, to figure out where their pit box is, get a couple of more laps to tune in their setups, maybe moving away from their qualifying setup to race trim and getting ready for tonight's race. But for the field, going to be a fun race to watch. It's going to be the 9th race on the schedule, the 8th of the overall schedule of full-length races, as the first week was qualifying week with a little bit of fun racing added in. And it's going to allow us to take a look at the schedule, because this season has been a lot of back and forth for how the field has been trying to get prepared for this race. With Zach coming off of last week, the driver of Jonathan Jennings able to get himself into victory lane, and honestly, I'm not surprised that he was able to do so. He had to fight and claw for it, but he's going to get his 3rd win this season, tying with Kevin Thompson, who also has 3 wins this season.
Yeah, those two have been quite the battle, I'd say. It's going to be interesting to see who can kind of, wedge their way in, because we know we've had likes like Michael Hayes in the 22, who's had some really good runs, just not able to get those victories. But we'll see, if someone else can start to light up the victory column, because it's definitely been those two, as you can see, filling that column up here on our schedule.
Filling it up quite a bit. And after tonight, the drivers go back to short track racing at Richmond before we go to super speedway racing at Talladega, and then Dover, Kansas, before we have another 2-week span break at the end of May. So this driver is recognizing, okay, it's go time. We need to hit our marks now because we are officially into the second half of the season. The field knowing that every point's so crucial as this is the 9th week of the season of a 16-week series. Every point going to be so crucial for themselves. Talking about points, take a look at the standings coming into tonight. The first week, it's been a long time since it, as Michael Hayes has been dominating the top of the leaderboard for the past 7 weeks. But tonight, not going to be the top dog in points. Instead goes to Kevin Thompson after Michael Hayes having his first big slip up last week at Bristol, finishing outside of the top 25. That's a tough pill to swallow, but still in fighting distance, at least in second place. But it doesn't help when you're coming to a track that Kevin Thompson has shown in the past he's very quick at.
That's for sure. Also looking very quick in qualifying. So Thompson definitely looking to continue where he's left off these last few races. And Hayes, definitely unfortunate finish to last week at Bristol. We'll see how he can bounce back from that, but definitely some drivers to watch out like St. Cor, McMahon, and others that are farther down that list. So it's going to be a fun, I think, time to see how those points evolve, but definitely I think when it all comes down to the end, it's going to be a very close one between our top 5.
Texas Motor Speedway. This is the new current configuration of the track. It's going to be a tough track to run around, Zach. Turns 1 and 2, 3 and 4, both so different that these drivers are going to be handling with.
Oh, so different. 1 and 2, it's probably the widest corner in all of racing, in my opinion. It is quite the magnificent sight when you go down to turn 1 and get to the bottom. I mean, there's 8 lanes all the way to the wall, but much less banking down on this side of the track as we get to see it here. And that has a huge factor in the speed you can carry through that corner. Also the line choice, very much a bottom dominant corner. Then you head down to 3 and 4 here, also bottom dominant corner, but so much more speed carried due to that higher banking but less width of the racetrack also. So it is it's almost like they took Texas and say, we're gonna do something like Darlington where you have 2 different ends of the racetrack, and they've definitely got that production because it is completely different driving on the opposite ends.
Completely different, and it's all going to be about the heat in your tires. The exit of these corners going to be tough for the first couple of laps, and then as the run progresses forward, just going to get worse and worse on the exit. That outside turn 4 wall going to be beaten and abused, I think, here tonight. We're going to be hoping that it survives, and as well, the driver is going to be getting a taste of that grass most likely here this evening. Texas, though, in the past, it's been ran 5 times, all the way back in 2021 fall season 1 was the first time that they ran, all the way up to last season where they ran in the 2023 season 3. We've had 2 races that went caution free of those 5, and 2 races had 4 cautions. Only 1 race had 2. That was the 2023 season 1 race where Justin McMahon found himself into victory lane. But the 2 names that always pop up when you look at the polls, most laps led, winning stages in all 5 races, Kevin Thompson and Jonathan Jennings, they're the big dogs to watch out for due to the fact that Jonathan Jennings, 2 wins at this course. And for Kevin Thompson, is the only driver to have a race won where he got the pole, led the most laps, and got into victory lane. That was back in 2022 season 1. He's going to try to make that same opportunity here tonight to try to go for a victory charge for the 6 machine. As practice is over, qualifying is over as well, and the warm-up just finished. The drivers are gridding up, which gives us time to take a look at our Group 6 starting grid for the drivers here this evening. 120 laps in total, and the top dog gonna be Kevin Thompson in the 6 machine, making their debut race for this season. In the 48 machine, it's Jeremy Richmond. Gonna see how the new dogs are gonna be running. There's a few of them out on track. Andrew St. Cor gonna be a driver that talked about how he is excited for this race. Watch out for the 12. Jonathan Smith in the 99 gonna be starting in 4th. Jonathan Jennings starting in 5th. The other newcomer gonna be Brandon Fetter Place, gonna be in the 20 machine in 6th position. One of the best qualifying runs we've seen since the race 1. Adam Gardner gonna be starting in 7th position for the 56. Jamie Horn in 8th. Christopher Norris back in 9th. And Mike Leftwich, haven't seen Mike in a while, but he'll be starting in the top 10.
Starting in 11th is the 94 Tyler Millette. Starting 12th alongside him is the 24 Justin McMahon. 13th position going to go to Leroy Kobolets. 14th is going to be the 27 of Christopher Simon. 15th is going to be the 92 of Cameron King, with 16th in qualifying going to David Halsey. 17th in qualifying is going to go to Steve Gerber, with 18th being the 8 of Chris Leftwich. 19th is going to go to Daniel Wilkerson, and rounding our top 20, it's Eric Anderson.
Starting in 21st, it's the 93 of Kevin Powell. Joe McKnight, the 51, will start in 22nd position. 23rd, it's the 38 of Raymond Henneman. Going to be in that 38 machine. Behind him, though, kind of a shocker in qualifying. In 24th, the 19 of Nicholas Atwood. Going to be seen in 27th place. It's the 7 of Gary Armio. Bill Gentry, who had a very rough Bristol, hoping to find a rebound here tonight, starting back in 26th place. Michael Hayes didn't finish well, not qualifying well here tonight. 22 machine will start all the way back in 27th place after dropping down into the second position in points. Mark Dumont starting in 28th, 29th, back after missing a couple of races. It's the 9 machine of Steven Bonomo. And finishing out our top 30, it's going to be the 2 machine of Tony Martin.
Starting in 31st, it's going to be Nicholas Schnell. Alongside him in 32nd, it's going to be Michael Menchaca. 33rd is going to go to Harrison Whitehead, with 34th position being Richard Leclerc. 35th position is going to be held by Andy Cork. 36th on the field going to be Michael Dow. Returning tonight in 37th is going to be Nate Orlowski. And rounding out our 38 cars here tonight, it's Eddie Rivers, as we got quite the field here in Texas.
Haven't seen Eddie Rivers or the 30 machine of Orlowski in a while, but it's great to see them back out on track. 38 drivers in total and 2 newcomers, as there is a waiting list to join the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series, as when there is an opening, they slot in one of those drivers on the waiting list. And after the amount of races that have been ran, Adam's decided to remove some drivers that haven't raced but signed up, enabling us to see Richmond and Fetter Place to have their chance in. Zach, I'm excited. 2 new drivers, very quick, both qualifying inside of the top 10. This is always a joy to see the drivers on the wait list excited to come race in this series and qualifying so well.
That is awesome to see, Sam, performing right out the gate, so to say, for both of those drivers in top 6 qualifying efforts. And it'll be interesting to see what they do and the green flag drops. I think that's going to be the biggest telltale sign for sure, is, maybe they've got the qualifying side of these things figured out, but how much do they have the racing figured out? Also, they're going to have to fill out the field, because it's your first time racing around people. You got to get to know them a little bit. So it'll be an interesting take here for those 2, but they got the speed. They should fit right in.
As 38 drivers were expected to take to the green, it looks like the 38 of Raymond Hanneman going to be starting in pit road for himself. Might be a smart call with the way that this race could be starting out here tonight, as the drivers are getting prepared for the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. Tonight's race, 120 laps, no stage break, no fast repair, only 3 sets of tires in pit road. Their fuel cell consumption going to be at 70% here tonight. But up front, it's your points leader, the 6 machine of Kevin Thompson, hitting the restart zone as we are green for the Texas Shindig 180. And it's going to be the teammates of Twisted Axle taking off, but drivers already having a little bit of issues with wheel spin in the middle of the field. They're holding steady, as it's going to be Simon struggling. They're almost going 4 wide already in the middle of the field, as up front the teammates are gone.
Wow, I don't know who had the bad restart there, Sam, from the outside, but somebody, like you said, just didn't get going. Maybe spun the tires, but it stacked everything up from really 5th on back.
At the gear ratios, you've got the options to mess with them, and some drivers maybe had a little bit too much of a lead foot, as some are scraping the wall already deeper in the field. You see that puff of smoke. Doesn't mean that they smashed the wall, maybe just grazed it. We're going to be seeing the field staying green, and that's a big positive on the bat, that no one was collected in a wreck. I think if you were a Hanneman, you were hoping maybe for an early wreck to let the 38 get back up front, but instead we stay green. 2 laps in, already seen some side-by-side racing for 4th on back, as drivers are searching for that speed on the outside row on through 3 and 4, but that's not where you want to be, Zach.
That is definitely not where you want to be, especially on 3 and 4. There is a giant bump that really upsets these next-gen cars, especially with the floor, how low these cars run. These are very stiffly sprung cars, and when they hit those bumps, it doesn't really like the reaction of it. I think we'll get a good telltale sign, because it's going to be coming up right there. You can see he hit it, and it really shook the car. Luckily, it seems like his car's got enough stability in it to be able to transverse that bump with someone ahead of him. of Cameron up here into the wall.
Head of Cameron brushing the wall just slightly as that bump going to be interesting as the run progresses. As the first lap or two, would say that these drivers will be dealing with a little bit of that loose sensation just because of the cold tires. But as the run progresses, we'll see how the exit of these corners, that rear end, who has made the right adjustments to find the stability to keep the high speeds rolling, and as well, not tighten up into that outside wall. As look at one of our past winners of this racetrack back in the 2023 season 1 race. You've got Justin McMahon in the 24 on the outside trying to make his push forward, battling for 12th place with Jamie Horn, who is inside groove.
He is battling it up right here, right now, as McMahon was, having a good run there at Bristol and got involved in an incident that really set him back. As we look at Mike Leftwich, who's right now really falling back from that 10th starting position. A few people along with him, like Jamie Horn from 8th, is back to 13th. So a few drivers coming to the front, other drivers going backwards right now, as it seems like a few drivers may have just missed it in that qualifying session.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like there's about a handful of drivers that are willing to give up about 5 positions or more, and everyone else has moved up at least 1 spot. And then there's another 5, about a handful of drivers that have decided to move up 5 or more spots. One of those being the driver up to 3rd place, Christopher Norris, being heavily challenged by Adam Gardner. Both drivers up multiple positions from where they started. Christopher Norris, one of the higher movers of those that are inside of the top 10. But Adam Gardner just finding more stability on the inside groove of the 56 will now slot in 3rd. And Twisted Axle Racing talked about how they were feeling confident coming into tonight's race. Well, 1, 2, 3 currently.
They are looking super quick, Sam. And the thing that I'm interested in is, Thompson and St. Croix, they got out and got a gap. And now it seems like kind of sitting here riding, trying to maybe manage a little bit. So we'll see how it works out for them in the long run with, really getting out to that quick gap out front, so to say. But those 2 teammates have done an excellent job in their 13, and Adam Gardner has done a good job. And now, better place in that 20, he's made the pass on Christopher Norris, so he's up to 4th. So newcomer of Brandon looking strong with Richmond, who's fell back to 6.
Able to gain some positions was the 83, but we will now fall back to 8th place, where we find Cameron King once again on the move, up 7 positions, about to make it 8 positions for himself. And also seeing Justin McMahon right in front of him. You got Jonathan Jennings in the fray, the 92, 91. Trying to figure out what position you want to be in, as Jonathan Jennings, again, talking about 2-time winner of this racetrack and trying to get his 3rd. And I wouldn't be surprised with how consistent he's been. But behind them, trouble for Chris Leftwich, who gets into the outside wall for the 8 machine. He's losing a lot of time as drivers are trying to navigate through the quad oval.
Oh man, that was a heavy hit, and he's lucky. It seems like no toe link damage, so he's going to keep that car somewhat.
Oh no, it just went. It just went.
Yep.
The 8 machine is going to be forced into pit road, but he has so much traffic around him. Got to be careful. Ooh. Almost a bump by the 7. Armio going to give the tap. Now it's going to be Joe McKnight potentially giving a bump. The 8 machine is going to be forced into pit road. Broken toe length. He has to stay out because there's no space to slot in. But this is a dangerous spot for Chris Leftwich, who just went from running inside of our top 15, now outside of the top 30. And just trying to hold on for dear life. And the driver that hurts the most, Joe McKnight, just went from battling inside the top 25 to now all the way back to 31st.
Wow, it just shows you how much you can lose out. And like you said, Sam, that thing broke down into 1. It was clear on every side from our looks of it on our side from here, and then it went down to 1, and it just gave out. So tough break there for Leftwich. He'll have to bring it to pit road, but got some battle in here is Christopher Norris, one of those big movers early. Seems like now he's starting to look back to get to the inside of this 20 once again.
Battling for 4th place position at this moment is the 20 machine newcomer of 3rd place and the 83 of Christopher Norris between one another. The 83 is going to be making a move down below, as looking on board with Justin McMahon back in 8th place, looking back at how Jamie Horn is running currently, as field starting to find those pods splitting up 13 laps in. Zach, this is the time where if you haven't protected your tires, you better cross your fingers or you're going to be able to hold on until you have to hit pit road.
Those handling signs are going to start to show right now, really. So we're going to start to see the first telltale signs of what drivers' cars are driving like. And with this stack up of cars, we could have an incident very quickly. As you see Millette here, he had that good run at Las Vegas and looked very good at that mile and a half. So we'll see if he can carry some of that speed over from Las Vegas here to Texas. But looks like now going to have the 10 of Steve Gerber look to the inside.
Trying to make the move is the 10 machine. Steve Gerber has had some pretty decent qualifying runs the last couple of races, but then gets caught up in early troubles for the 10 machine. Kind of knocks him away from the better finishes that he was hoping for tonight. Didn't qualify as well as he would hope, but still in the fight of drivers just outside of the top 10. As they're trying to make their push forward. Again, 38 drivers took the green. Our first driver to call it a night going to be the 8 of Chris Leftwich, who has just left the server. Hate to see that start, but a first caution strikes, and it's trouble from exit of turn 2 onto the back stretch. It's Steven Minomo going to be the driver, getting a little bit squirrely as well, as it looked like trouble for the 41 of Cork, as the 41 and the 9 get into one another, and Joe McKnight also a little bit of tailed into this incident.
This is a kind of unfortunate one here with just 3 drivers, racing hard in the back of the field back here. And unfortunately, we're going to see right here, the 41 is going to be on this inside here. It's going to end up being actually 3 wide here late on the exit. The 41 is going to come, but I think he's not going to think they're going to be 3 wide. So he's coming up the racetrack like they're 2 wide. That puts Bonomo up into Joe McKnight, and from there, all 3 of those drivers' damage occurred.
Big contacts, but luckily not hard enough contacts for required damage for any of the 3. As take a look from Joe McKnight's point of view again, running 3 wide, Steve Minomo nowhere to go, and then gets clipped and just smacks that inside wall for the 51. But luckily, it was you could call it a clean pancake hit, flat, flush, and able to continue on. Shocking leaving of the session. Jonathan Jennings went into pit road and has just left the session. The 91 might be doing a star park here tonight.
Looks like to be that way. So tough to see that, because Jennings going to lose out on some valuable points here tonight that he possibly could have been occurring, especially the past history he's had at such tracks. So for someone like Kevin Thompson, who already has the points lead, this is where you got to take advantage of these situations, Sam.
Huge loss for Jonathan Jennings if he does not rejoin. This is an official call it a night this early on. It's going to be tough for him to make all these points back with how strong Kevin Thompson and the whole entire Twisted Axle team have been. And also seeing Andrew St. Core running well, Adam Gardner running well. This could be a tough night for second and third place in points, because Michael Hayes, getting talked about how he didn't qualify well, has not moved forward in the field as well as I think he was hoping for. Came in and topped off on fuel, was the 22. He'll start back in 24th position on this restart, but this race here at Texas could change the whole entire dynamic of how the points run and the points championship is going to look like for the rest of the season.
It really could, Sam. This is a wild race, and for Hayes to be starting that far back, it was definitely interesting to see. But like we said, didn't really move his way forward much either. So he's got a lot of work to do to gain those points if he wants to try to gain those back on Thompson, who's doing everything he can to grow those points. So it's looking good there. And the other thing what's interesting is with this timing of this yellow and such, we had a lot of people come down and top off such from 23rd back. Don't really think that's going to change the strategy too much for anybody out there. But I do say this is going to be interesting, because now you're stacking up everybody on the older tires. We're going to see really who has what and who saved what here. It could really help a few guys that were dropping back. So this caution could have been right where they needed.
And being felt as at fault for the incident, Andy Cork going to given an EOL for this restart. First driver to take tires, though. Majority, like you said, just coming in, topping off on fuel. Jamie Horn taking 4 tires and fuel on this stop. Going to be starting all the way back in 26th position. Fresh rubber and going to be a massive 17 lap advantage. This could be critical for the 98 to grab a lot of track position, but after this pit stop, you're left for the rest of this race with only 2 sets of tires in pit road. I don't know if this gamble this early on is worth it, but if we stay green, hey, this is a perfect gamble to take.
If it stays green, yeah, it really actually could work out very, very well for you. But like you said, if it does have other cautions, it's going to be an issue. So I like the call of staying out, but some of the others making the decision to go ahead and use that set of tires could be willing to risk it all for such, especially because this Texas track can go green. It spreads out a lot here with just how the racetrack is. So we could see it go green, but at the same time, with the handling conditions getting worse as these runs go on, I think we might have a few more yellows in our future.
We were talking about lap 13 to 14 being an issue lap for drivers. That might be the sign of drivers losing the rear ends. Maybe their tires are too warmed up and the exit of the corners become very difficult to hold onto your vehicle. One driver did on lap 14, did not bring out a caution, but Eddie Rivers officially has been in pit road, just leaving pit road, going to be 4 laps down, but had some massive damage. And for the 15, open to grab maybe a spot or more if other drivers find issues, as Rivers is night not going as well as you would hope, but at least still out on track, better than Chris Leftwich, Jonathan Jennings, that are both officially out of the server. But up front, it's going to be the teammates 1, 2, 3. Kevin Thompson, Andrew St. Cour, and as well going to be Adam Gardner, going to be 1, 2, 3. Christopher Norris will be in 4th. 5th place, we find ourselves with the newcomer, the 48 machine of Jeremy going to be Richmond, as well as seeing Fetter Place in the 20. See how well they can run. Moving forward, inside row, not as stacked up as maybe they would hope. Outside row is ready for this launch as we are green for the Texas Shindig 180. Back underway after our first caution. Much better launch for everyone in the middle of the field. Not as much wheel spin, and it's going to be given an opportunity for a driver to go 3 wide down into turn number 1. That's for 5th place, and it's going to be the newcomer of Fetter Place trying to make the move for himself on the inside row. Almost contact going on in Fetter Place. Able to move up, and Adam Gardner is going to be dropping down below.
Gardner here going to take that spot on the outside. Here is now the 48 of Richmond here, trying to hold on in that Bucky's machine, but he's got the 24 of McMahon, and up ahead, Fetter Place going after Christopher Norris, who's on the back bumper of Thompson, who's lost the lead to St. Cour.
St. Cours is making his run. That 12 machine gassed it up and said, I'm taking this point. And the 12 loving the lead position, and the 6 will play a little bit of gunner, trying to hold back Christopher Norris, who took a lot of positions, then kind of gave up spots to pull down those tires. That 83 looks to be on the charge, wanting to have a better run than last week at Bristol. Had some monitor issues that forced Christopher Norris not to have the finish that he was hoping for, or even the race he was hoping for. Here tonight, up front and challenging the top dogs as Kevin Thompson starts to show a little bit of wiggle, and that heat cycle, Zach, it looks like it's going back to where we were right before we went green.
It does look like that, Sam. So we'll see if some of these drivers who saved a little bit could have a little more here. But also Thompson experiencing for the first time tonight some dirty air on that nose. And I'll tell you, it is drastically different than clean air. When you get somebody's nose in front of you, you have to have that left front somewhat poked out, or you just lose every bit of downforce. As we drop back here to the 29th position, Daniel Wilkerson trying to work his way forward and get his night going back in the right direction after starting 19th.
Topping off on fuel was Wilkerson, but in 20th position as a driver that's taking off and going, as Wilkerson is trying his best to focus up, get through these corners, and recognize that, okay, it's going to be a long race for himself, but how do you want to react for this race is going to be the big thing for these drivers, because if you just topped off on fuel, you just gave up track position for free. And I'm trying to think of the advantage, Zach, of just topping off on fuel when you make this early pit stop, because I'm not seeing any real advantages of making a quick pit stop just 18 laps into a run.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to change too much strategy-wise. I think more or less it can help the balance sometimes. Especially if you're fighting a little bit of tightness and you're like, man, I don't really want to make a change. Well, adding some fuel to some older tires will help that. So maybe some of these drivers electing to do that, but you can see right now the 48 of Richmond trying to make his way and claw his way back up there. They're starting second tonight. Fell back on that initial start, but it's been the start that's been this 48's Achilles heel now, trying to take this position back from Fetter Place.
Fetter Place in the 20 machine has been honestly on the edge, waiting for a chance to get out on track as the 20 just in front of the 48 machine, and just any possibility on that waiting list for the past 4 races, and now with the chance to fight forward. I know for that of Jeremy Richmond, he's been waiting also for the last couple of weeks to have a chance to hit the track and race with these Shoney's Doghouse Cup drivers. and right now proving that they are threats to watch out for, as officially out of the race now going to be Eddie Rivers, who parks it after passing Jonathan Jennings, who is over and brushing the wall in entry. It's going to be that 60 machine. Watch out for Leftwich, and also Smith with amazing slide and save out the exit of turn 2.
Jonathan Smith willing it there. And I'll tell you what, these next gen cars, when you get sideways, there's not much time to save them. And he did an excellent job of just gathering up. But here down here on the 3 and 4, see how he navigates that bump. Looks like the car navigated it well. So again, these open setups seem to be riding those bumps a little bit better than the fixed setup would.
And with those big slides, it's bringing everyone together, but yellow flag's going to strike. Issue for the 30 machine, as that's going to be Nate Orlowski, who be caught up with the spin, locking it down after a slide off the exit of turn 4 that took him all the way almost, and it did, to the middle of the tri-oval, to the quad oval. So take a look at the 30 machine. The Waffle House machine was trying to find himself hitting the clean run, but off the exit of the corner, older tires just fades away so quickly.
It really does, and you can see him fighting, and all of a sudden there it goes in the grass, and everybody here does an excellent job. Look at the field scatter left and right. Bonomo's got to go in the grass. Another driver off to the grass there as the yellow flag flies. You see the lights light up, and man, that was a interesting moment for sure as he held on to it through the grass.
I know the drivers might not like when the caution flag comes out, but as a viewer, this is probably one of the funnest tracks to see the yellow flag when it comes out with the fence line, having the lights go out. You know exactly when a caution comes out for the field. It's a fun effect that Texas has for themselves. Drivers might not like the way that the track races for some, but for viewers wise, I think that's one of the cooler aspects of this course. Let's take a look at the weather for tonight's race. It is transitioning from day to night for tonight's race, as the field is going to be running with a 73 degrees ambient temperature, 77 on track, winds around 8 miles per hour, humidity, not a lot of it that they're dealing with here tonight, but the field, I think they're happy with the way that the track temp is. It's doable to work with, as it should cool off just a little bit more once we get later into the race.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you, Sam. I think everybody's liking the conditions. They feel like their cars are hooked up, and we'll see now how it all works out as everybody's come to pit road here and they're getting their services done and out here after this. Did race report 2 cautions here tonight for 6 laps. 1 lead change between the teammates. You can see right here coming off pit road. That's the race for it.
Error race report. Thanks so much to our producer Robert, giving us all the amazing graphics we get to use here on each and every broadcast we give you throughout the week, as we just finished up having our 4 races a week and now down to just 2 moving forward, as we just concluded the WSSR championship, where Benjamin Nelson found himself hoisting back-to-back championships for season 7 last season and this season for season 8. And then the BRB Cup Series just concluded their first inaugural season, where Gavin Rogers was crowned the champion for that series. And now we only have Monday nights ISRC Truck Series, and tonight on Thursdays, the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. Both series, I would say, is kind of our favorites to watch, just because of you never know what's going to find. The drama on Mondays with the rivalries that always mount up throughout a season, and the excellent racing that we get to see on Thursday nights.
Oh, it's been a blast on both those nights, and glad I get the pleasure of doing both of them. So it's definitely my luck here for sure. I tell you what, with this strategy, the way everything's played out right here, this is going to be very interesting. It looks like Hayes with a 7-second stop there from that last time, and I think that was only for, that was 14 laps ago with these first 4 drivers who stayed out. So Hayes is going to be on the oldest tires of anybody. Now the other 3, I think they did take tires there, Sam, at 14 laps ago, but still, Michael Hayes could be at a major disadvantage here.
Yeah, being on just the now 31 lap old tires, and then you've got the rest of the field behind you. You've got 3 drivers that took tires 14 laps ago. Everyone else just got tires. This looks like it's a mess waiting to happen. And for Michael Hayes on the older tires, we saw wheel spin on fresh rubber. 31 lap old tires. You usually don't see a restart with that old of tires, but Hayes might be thinking about long term wanted to have that super extra set of tires just in case we get those later cautions in the race.
It very well could come back to help him, but I think if it goes green here, it's going to go back to hurt him. So we'll see how it shakes out. But again, with the difference on tires here, even with just the other three guys too, this is going to shake the field up just that little bit. So we could get some yellows here popping up. But I tell you what, I think I like that strategy that St. Core, Thompson, and Christopher Norris are on. I think that's going to be the tried and true way right now.
I think it is as well. As the drivers stack up, get ready to take off. This is what your top 10 look like currently, as your top 4 going to be on older tires than everyone else. Michael Hayes, your leader. Jamie Horn in second. Kevin Powell in third, with Bill Gentry fourth. And first set of fresh rubber going to be fifth place of Andrew St. Core, who we talked to last week during the post-race interviews. I gotta say, he sounded very confident coming into tonight and hoping to run well. Also at Talladega with the Twisted Axle team and how dominant they look at super speedways. I gotta say, the 12 might be the favorite now with the way we've seen these first 30 laps be ran.
He very well might be, and I've been thinking this the whole time about him. Is it's not if he'll get a win this season, it's just when. He's, I think, for sure going to get himself at least one that winner column. It's just going to be what race it'll be. It could very well be this race tonight, or like you said at Talladega, where they've already shown the amazing super speedway speed.
As Michael Hayes is going to be the lead driver as we get prepared to go back to Green Flag Racing. Thank you again for everyone that's been joining with us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name's Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall, and up in the booth running productions is Robert Moyer Jr. As the field enters the restart zone, the Texas Shindig 180 is back underway for the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. Hayes with a pretty decent launch for himself. Drivers are getting into the grass, though, behind for fourth on back. Hayes with a good launch, but for how long will those tires hold out as the rest of the field is willing to go 3 wide moving forward? That's Thompson, Norris, and others right on top of one another.
Bill Gentry up top on the older tires. Looks like Christian Norris will fall in line behind Thompson. It's going to be the 12, the first car with the fresh tires to the back bumper of the old ones. But Kevin Powell now and Jamie Horn trying to hold back while Michael Hayes is just trying to get away with the oldest tires in the field.
Trying to find your way to hold off the field. You've already got your lap led. Now it's just salvage what you can until these laps just tick away. Trouble, though, going to strike for a driver further on behind. Yellow flag strikes. It's Christopher Simon in the 27. Major issues for himself as the rest of the field tried to scatter around the 27 machine as he broke loose through 1 and 2, as it looked to be maybe some slight contact between the 34th position driver and the 14 of Mark Dumont.
Very well looks like that's what it's going to be here, Sam, as we're watching this replay. Is down into 1. Simon's going to drive off into the corner, but you're going to see the 14 here through the center of the corner, just come up through the middle and just clip the left rear and boom, head first for that 27 into the wall, and everybody going to just skate by.
Able to scoot on by, and you talked about, Zach, at the top of the broadcast, how wide 1 and 2 is. That really helped and attributed to why this wreck was minimalized, letting out other drivers that were going to get caught up in this mess. Luckily, it was just the 27, but obviously for Simon, not the way that he wanted this run to go. Just as one small tap, away he goes to the outside.
You know, it's very true, Sam. It helped right there for sure for this incident not to be worse. And also, it gives you the weirdest feeling when you wreck down here in 1 and 2. It feels like a whole year passes by before you actually end up in the wall with how wide the racetrack is. So that definitely helped the case there. Everybody just narrowly getting by. So everybody very lucky except for the 27, who, of course, heavy damage on that right front for him at least.
Heavy damage for himself and for us as we're inching closer and closer to 40 laps into this race. I think we're going to take our first commercial break of the evening. Thank you so much again for joining with us on your Thursday night on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. You're watching the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series here at Texas for the Texas Shindig 180 at Texas Motor Speedway. Again, we'll be back right after this with more racing action. 5 wide behind the pit.
Oh my, the 5 wide here, this ain't gonna work. They make it last, bumping and banging to the end. They're beating banging for the lead. Sora still with the shot here, coming off a 4. That's it.
It's bottom line, here it comes. Oh no, Carter gets wrecked. It's gonna be that Nick Crawford. The 74 gets through somehow, and they just completely demolish one another. Trinity driving down low, drifting up, trying to be the stealer. Here he comes, Cedric Hunter. He steals it.
But he somehow drove it into the corner to wreck it.
Oh, they wrecked! They wrecked each other. The top two bounced into one another. Just too much of side drifting off of, and they got to be careful. Oh no! The 4 demolishes in the 28. And we are back to green flag racing. Michael Hayes on 39-lap-old tires is trying to hold off the crew that got the freshest behind. The Twistle Axle teammates have been rolling, but Kevin Thompson's going to be drifting on back, but almost looking like he's the superhero and the favor of the night. It's the 12. Andrew St. Cyr easily breezing by as Hayes is just being swarmed by competition.
Competition is swarming right there. Now Christopher Norris going to try to swarm past that 22 also, but it's the 24 of McMahon coming into the picture. He's done a great job through this sequence to gain a ton of spots, and now he's gained the track position with Core out front.
St. Cyr is just loving the speed up front, going to be following behind his Fetter place. 22 is going to be just dripping further and further on back as just getting a little bit of fuel with Kevin Thompson, but the rest of the field right now, again, you've got a mixture of about 4 drivers on about 10 to 12 lap older tires, mixing and mingling further on back from about 8th on back. They're hoping to stay green, but that outside wall, like you saw there, sneaking up on drivers as they continue to brush it. You just hope you don't clobber that outside wall for 4.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for that. And looking at Thompson too, Sam, the weird thing about him is he's made 4 pit stops, so I don't know what exactly he was doing. Maybe something he had to go do something, but clearly all that track position loss due to staying out there for or hitting pit road for himself. So we'll have to see how that shakes out. But caution again,
and it's Michael Menchaca. Also looks like Steve Minomo going to be spun around on the exit of turn 4, and heavy damage for a few as looks to be Adam Gardner. Menchaca make contact through the center of 3 and 4, and it just scatters around for the field. I believe it's going to be a little bit too far back for that incident, but they certainly were getting active for how this field was racing.
If they were Menchaca there, just think not expecting maybe that 56 to get there, and you can see the contact initial, and then it's going to be a 30 of Walensky there, and from there, the 9's going to get taken out, and it's just 3 cars that are heavily damaged here. So we'll get a little bit better look here from the 9 Bonomo, what he can see going down here in the 3. And you can see up ahead, that's where they made the contact. You've seen the car react. He hits that car. Really, just no way to expect that.
No, I mean, Steve Manomo did everything that you would mark correctly. You see a car slowing down in front of you, you back off, you're trying to react accordingly. But an innocent victim of when a driver grips up and just ships a car to the outside, and the 9 going to be breaking a toe length, has to be forced into pit road to get that damage repaired. Hopefully not going to go too many laps down, as you see the field about to be putting the 9 lap down currently, and a few more drivers thinking about topping off on fuel, but Michael Hayes making his first pit stop for tires, it looks like, for the 22 here tonight.
I think that's a smart decision from him, just to go ahead and say, you know what, give up on what's been happening here. I don't want to get caught up in anything, and he'll come to pit road and see just a little bit of a tire advantage can help him maybe transverse through the field and gain some track position that, you know, he is seeking from that strategy.
And with this pit stop, might be, if we get another quick caution here and another 15 laps, other drivers might be using their second set of tires. Well, you know, seeing Hayes, he's going to be trying to push those tires out until most likely lap a 90 if possible. But as we're under pacing, drivers are finishing up a little bit of splash and go, others getting tires. We want to say thank you to the amazing sponsors that help out the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. We also have Group 6 Fanatic. But for Shoney's being your title sponsor, Shoney's is your all-American kitchen, open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Shoney's guests can count on quality, delicious food along with warm, friendly service. Stop by one of the West Virginia locations to try out their freshly prepared, legendary breakfast bar, and don't forget to take home a whole strawberry pie. Shoney's, delicious food and friendly service since 1947. As well, want to say thank you to Group 6. Group 6 has partnered up with the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. Rev up your brand's potential with Group 6 at every turn of the Doghouse Racing Series. As your creative marketing powerhouse, we are here to help fuel your success, accelerate your impact, and steer your brand towards victory. Group 6, where every race is an opportunity to outshine and outperform. Discover more at group6inc.com. And if you'd like to help out the Doghouse Racing League in general, as they run so many different leagues and help out a lot of drivers to get out there on track and give you the great performances on Tuesday and Thursday night, Fanatics is for Doghouse Racing. They've partnered up with Fanatics, your sports merchandise go-to. If you're looking to purchase your favorite team's apparel, jersey, hard hats, or any hard goods, go find yourself at Fanatics. They're partnered up with all major professional sports leagues, the NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, NASCAR, MLS, and the PGA. Doghouse earns commissions when you use the link down below, down in the description, as the Doghouse Racing League uses those commissions to help out their league. So thankful to all the amazing sponsors that help out the Shoney's Doghouse Racing Leagues, as well as this Cup Series. It's incredible to find sponsors that are willing to partner up and be such brands that are willing to help also financially when possible. As the field getting ready for the green, as they wait for the pace car lights to turn off. Zach, I mean, we got ourselves about a quarter of the way through this race. We've had a few cautions pop up every about 15 laps or so. Kind of changes the rhythm, but how do you mentally set yourself up knowing that we're seeing these cautions pretty regularly at a similar point in the race?
It's tough because as a driver, you're like, do I want to start pushing now? Because we're just getting these quick spurts and get the track position while I can when it's easiest on these restarts. Or do I need to actually still manage my stuff just in case we go for that long distance run that these guys have known to be able to do? So, personally, it's always a tough situation to put yourself in as a driver. But I think the farther along this race gets, with that trend continues, you're going to see more and more drivers really start to push harder on each and every one of these restarts we get.
Who's willing to make the push forward? Do want to give an update. Kevin Thompson back in 21st position. Again, topped off on fuel under our last caution 9 laps ago. Adam Gardner did the same. Drivers that just took 4 fresh tires and ready to take off. Tony Martin back in 29th. Michael Hayes, who just used his first set, back in 30th. And we'll see how well they can cruise through the field, as your top dog is going to be Andrew St. Cour, Christopher Norris, as well as Brandon Fetterplace, Justin McMahon, ready to tackle how to be up front. Watch out for this restart. What will the 24 do, as McMahon's a past winner here at Texas and able to get back into victory lane? Or will we see some of the drivers that have yet to win this season make some big moves, as the Texas Shindig 180 is underway, and it's going to be St. Cour moving further up as the other drivers about 2-3 car lengths behind that 12 machine.
St. Cour with an excellent start there from the outside lane, and now Christopher Norris able to clear. Looks like McMahon as he slots into third. The better place falling back into 4th position. But looking at where we are, Sam, I'm starting to think a little bit of strategy. If we can get to that lap 80 portion of this race with this fuel we have in these cars, they should be able to make the stop for the end of the race. So we may be sitting at a 1 stop right now, while others could be, thinking about the 2 stop. So the 1 stop is possibly still on the table here for some of these drivers.
1 stop, who's aiming for it? Drivers that are thinking about taking it to the end, as going to be seeing Nicholas Atwood with a big move on Jamie Horn. Horn drops back, huge slide going to be seeing drivers in the middle of the field. It's David Halsey with a massive slide and save, as the field still side by side, mainly in the middle portion of the pack, that are trying to slot their way forward to the mixture of drivers on old and new tires, as the field continues to find their way where to place yourself. And you got to give a huge kudos. Driver leading this group that you see on screen, Kevin Thompson in the mixture, but it's the 38. It's Raymond Hanneman, who started this race in pit road, had to start all the way back in last place. He's now fighting just outside the top 15.
He is doing a pretty good job too here, because he's about to try to take another spot, but he's going to have to be under threat, because the 6 of Kevin Thompson is flying back through the field. All that track position he lost, he's starting to gain a lot of it back right here quickly as he's looking to the inside, while others behind also are, looks like just Cameron King.
And one driver disconnecting from the server who was just outside of this picture. That's going to be the 2 of Tony Martin, who has a packet loss disconnection. The field's trying to hold steady, but they are getting very mixy on the tire wear, as a majority of the drivers in this shot are 22-lap old tires. Yes, we've had a few cautions here or there, but you're not comfortable with the way this set is. There's a few drivers brushing the wall, even on the back stretch as they set up into turn 3.
These constant heat cycles have probably put the balance of these cars in a very weird position, and even just the ride height up to where the floor is at on the racetrack, with the air pressure being gained and lost through these cooling down and heating up phases. So we're riding on board this 22 of Hayes. It's looking like it's a handful from him already, just from the tires trying to go through the heating and cooling process.
Hold on tight is what the field is hoping for, as we run on board with Michael Hayes trying to get by the 17 machine. Drops down low, fresh tires enabling Hayes to get by Leclerc, as now Hayes gets another shot of a huge group he's got to work to get through, and that one pass moves him up to 26. Still a lot of positions if he wants to move up forward and having the tire advantage. But the tire advantage and the speed difference, I mean, some of those drivers really struggling in the start of this race. Now with the mixture of different tire strategies, giving new life to some, others, it's just survival mode. And for Eric Anderson, after last week at Bristol, a tough week for himself in the 43 machine, it's kind of a survival night. Get the best finish you can to reset for the rest of the season.
That it is. This is a night that you want to, you come out of Bristol where nothing is guaranteed, but you come here at a night where it's been kind of hectic. You just want to come out and survive and get a decent finish so you can get your season on a roll here. That's what a few drivers are definitely going to be looking to do. Is now Dumont looking to go forward in the 14 position, or 14 car, and make the pass, but that 42 of Leroy Koblitz, Harrison Whitehead fighting strong on the outside of him.
Whitehead's holding strong on the outside. Leroy right in front of this group as the 14 continues to hit his marks. It's Nicholas Atwood, though, as drivers look to be scattering through 1 and 2. And it's going to be Bill Gentry, as well as it looked to be a few other drivers struggling off the exit turn 2 that fell off quickly. We stayed green, but trouble struck for the 4 and a couple of others through 1 and 2. Just bad bumps went around. As we take a look at some of the other drivers out on track having their own survival days. Kevin Powell, who has ran a few races this season, trying to get by Raymond Henneman, which Henneman has now moved up to 10th place. His 38 is rolling right now for himself.
He's done a good job, and I gotta say, we didn't get to see it, but Bill Gentry might have one of the best saves of all time. So great job by Bill there to keep it straight after that mess you were talking about down in 1 and 2 with Halsey, I think, missing the corner and getting up into him. But yeah, this 38 does look very good. It broke into the top 10 now, and we'll see if he can track down Millette, because this grouping here is kind of stacked up from the 5th position on back.
So 1 lap difference for Raymond Henneman to majority of the drivers in this field ahead. The driver with the oldest tires, Jamie Horn, 41 lap old tires. Everyone else about 12 lap difference to the 98 machine. It was still running in the top 5. Gotta give huge credit to Horn for running where he is currently. But seeing how well can you move forward is going to be Henneman, as our top 4 drivers, they're off in their own world, still all within about a half a second of one another.
That they are. This has been fun to watch, because you've had Core leading the way, but This time he didn't get really broken away from him. It was really Christopher Norris. Better places now. He's going to be looking to take the spot for McMahon as these top four have shown the speed of their race cars. They're really able to drive away.
Well, Zach, you were kind of talking to a few of the drivers, getting their thoughts on how you want to run Texas, and the fact that for some drivers it's hitting a mark with how important the heat cycle is, keeping the heat down on the tires as well as wear and tear, that maybe you're not pushing the car as aggressively as you can. Christopher Norris on this run was putting down some of the fastest laps of the race to keep close with the 12 machine. I think we're starting to see that a little bit maybe too aggressive early on, backfiring currently.
It very well could. I mean, we can see, St. Cor maybe drive away a little bit here. He's starting to open a little bit of a gap. It looks like McMahon's starting to struggle a little bit compared to these top three. But Better Play is starting to come into his own as he's staying right here with Christopher Norris. So right now, it very well could be that, Sam, because we did see those fastest laps of the race turned as you get to see Justin McMahon on the screen as he's trying to hold on. And that car definitely starting to go even. First driver I really see in our top, really anywhere in the 30-second bracket.
Justin McMahon, one of the few drivers in the field running with a VR setup for himself, looking around virtually, giving you a little bit more of a depth of field compared to drivers that just have 3 monitors. Some only have 1 monitor to work with on their view of how the track looks. And, sometimes for drivers, they say VR is the only way that they can race. And for the 24, it's working for him, currently running in 4th position.
Hey, VR is definitely an immersive experience, as they would say. So cool to see McMahon here with his on, and definitely getting the enjoyment out of that. As we did have second place change hands, Better Place up to second place. So he's definitely feeling himself right now as he's moving on forward through the field, and Christopher Norris going to drop back to 3rd. But this is where the battle really is. Kevin Thompson, he's made it up to 6th. Sam.
Made it up to 6th in the 6th machine. Again, at one moment was all the way down to 20th position. He has marched his way very quickly, efficiently. Now leads this second pack of drivers in that 5th place position. See Jamie Horn, he's trying to make his way forward as the rest of the field still pretty jam-packed back in 20th position. I think we're going to see a caution. It might be back in the 20th to 25th range of placements just because of how aggressive they've been on top of one another. But at this moment for the leaders, they're running their own race. Like we've talked about right before we went green, that patience level of, do you want to push the aggression, or do you want to stay patient like you've been doing for most of the race, banking on this race to stay green? Or do you race aggressive thinking, we might see a wreck, and it could be this group right here?
It very well could be a wreck right here building up for sure, Sam. These guys are getting a little bit wild back here. But McKnight, after that contact early, trying to rebound. He's right ahead of Richard Leclerc. This is her 26th. You got Whitehead right there in 25th. Also Leroy Kovalets there in the blue car in 24th. This grouping has definitely been side by side a few times now. They're going to try to get this side by side with Eric Anderson and Kovalets up there.
They're going to try every little move possible that they can take. Anderson's going to stay high, allowing a little bit of movement. They'll now single file out. Then now the next group that's kind of packed up on top of one another going to be the battle for 14th, where it's going to be the 99 and 57 battling side by side. That's Jonathan Smith, David Halsey side by side, and right behind him, it's the driver with the freshest tires on track, Michael Hayes, trying to figure out how to get by this wall because each lap he's losing time to the leaders.
That he is. He's losing a bunch of time, Sam, and he's got to get going right now as he's stuck behind that 99, and it doesn't look like he's trying to force the issue too much, but Jonathan Smith almost contact with the 51 through the center of the corner, or sorry, the 57 of Halsey, and that opens up the door for the 22 of Hayes, and now 3 wide down the front straightaway, and it looks like Halsey now going to hold the outside of the 22.
And I got to give huge credit to the 99 of Smith, who recognized this is not good. Stay 3 wide through the quad oval. It usually doesn't work out in anyone's favor. And just like that, take 2 spots, move the 22 forward, cracking the top 15 is Michael Hayes, who dropped back again to the group that we were just talking about of the Chaos crew of who's going to survive this madness. As you have the 14 of going to be Dumont. You've got Eric Anderson as well as Daniel Wilkerson all on top of one another trying to make their way forward, and everyone in this picture have been caught up in a mess plenty of times this season. It kind of feels like they've been the magnets around incidents, and maybe not their fault, but they're just trying to continue to stay out of trouble as It's going to see Daniel Wilkerson outside. He's right on board, and as well get to see his sights of what he's seeing out there on track, just trying to hit his marks and stay off that outside wall.
And that's tough to do. So we'll see how Wilkerson can navigate here down into one, as he's going to have Eric Anderson to the inside of him here. He's going to slide that 43 up and try to make the pass for 21st. Anderson has that, so Wilkerson going to drop back in position here, but trying to find the speed to be able to allow him to get up into this top 20.
And as the top 20 have been having a great show, we have to move up to the top 2 as drivers hit pit road. That's going to be Jamie Horn as well as Kevin Powell and Bill Gentry going to hit pit road. But the battle for the lead is underway. It's Andrew St. Cour and also going to be the newcomer, the debut for the 20, Brandon Fetterplace, who'd been waiting for about 5 weeks to hit the track, the 20, immediately making an impact here tonight. Qualified 6th and now putting the pressure on the heavy favorite of tonight's race.
He is looking strong here on this longer run, and we'll see what he can do. He's got closer to Cour, and Cour looks a little bit vulnerable. The car's stepping sideways through the center of the corner. He's definitely feeling the pressure. I think this is only going to be a given until this 20 gets it done. And looking back up the entry here, he should have a good run through the center, but just doesn't like he can follow. And that it makes sense. It's a tougher corner to follow here because of the higher speed. Down here in 1 and 2, though, going to be probably the place where he's gaining.
As we're seeing the 20 and the 12 race back and forth, other drivers, we talked about the numbers game. Where would you like to pit? Some drivers might be aiming for lap 80. Others might be aiming for lap 90 to be their final stop of the evening. Heard that some drivers might be thinking about lap 75. So we are just about entering the pit cycle. 3 drivers have already made their stops, being the 93 of Kevin Powell, the 98 of Jamie Horn, and also the 99 of Jonathan Smith, with the 4 of Bill Gentry also tagging along as they're just leaving pit road now. But up front, rest of the field still waiting for that final call to make their final pit stop of the night. Or do you stay out, run the car completely empty, and bank on that yellow flag that can really change everything here?
You know, that's going to be the question of what do you want to do. And look at this great race in Richmond. He's challenging the likes of Thompson here, and this is great stuff from Richmond, who, you know, started second. He kind of fell back there at one point, but now with Thompson, who had to drive through the field, you know, he's had such really high class speed, but this 48 has not allowed him to get away and is now re-challenging him back for that position, as even our leader is still about a 10th between those two. So pretty similar battles going on right here.
Jeremy Richmond in the Buc-ee's machine. Where do you place yourself? Running a little bit higher, trying to get some fresh air on that nose to get through the corner. Also trying to get that better exit out of the corner, and it really was a better exit out of turn 4 for the 48. Another driver hits pit road inside of our top 10. It's going to be Justin McMahon. It'll be the first driver that was inside of our top 10 to really make a stop here, besides Jamie Horn. Seeing these stops now going to be critical. Hit your marks, don't fall apart. As the pass for that 3rd place position happens, as well, it's the pass for the lead happens for Fetterplace.
That it was. Fetterplace to the lead, and just as Richmond takes over 3rd. So both the 20 and the 48, the newcomers here to the league, showing out here late into this run, and this is great.
It is looking fantastic to see the newcomers, new faces come in and kind of outshine at moments. But now it's the critical moment. Where do you want to come into pit road? Do not make a mistake. Cannot afford to make a slip up when you're trying to hit your pit entry. You cannot be caught speeding. Can't miss the pit entry. That's even a bigger issue. You completely miss it, you slide into the grass, and as well, don't slide through your box. Critical moments that could cost you plenty of seconds and opportunities for great finishes here tonight. And seeing drivers more hitting pit road. That's Cameron King, going to be Shell, and Mark Dumont entering pit road, as Fetterplace going to be the top driver at the moment, trying to see how well he can keep that top position, as Atwood, seen him running back in 6th as the pit cycle going on through right in the middle of it. It's more drivers thinking about pit stops, but again, lap 80 to 90. I think it's where we're going to be seeing a lot of the drivers that are our favorites to watch out for. That's going to be the zone that they're going to be hitting pit road. Talked about Michael Hayes, also a driver to watch out for, as seeing the 56, the 43 get a little bit mixy with one another. That's going to be seen. Adam Gardner, it was drift on by. Into pit road, though. Andrew St. Cyr in the 12. As Halsey settles in his own spot in the world. As Adam Gardner really looking strong, moving up to now 7th place for himself over Halsey. Lead position going to be Fetter Place, and Fetter Place over the radio saying he's pitting this time. Halsey and as well Gardner, they continue to fight back and forth, just not giving up any space as the 43 trying to figure out where he wants to place himself at this moment, just nowhere to really slot, as this is all for position. Fetter Place is now in the pit road getting service done. Also just hitting pit road right behind Adam Gardner is going to be Halsey and Eric Anderson as they get their services done for themselves. 40 laps to go, and over the radio it's going to be Jeremy Richmond who's going to decide to make his stop. You see St. Cyr going to be out on track. A little bit of issues for saw Zach kind of clip away. We hope to have him back up in the booth. Now joining me in the booth is going to be seeing Robert Moyer with us. Robert, thanks for the emergency hop in. Less than 40 laps to go and the pit cycle is underway.
That is right. Yeah, it's okay. I'll hop in and I'll help take over here right now. But like you said here, Sam, yeah, it's 40 laps to go here. Pit cycles have stopped or started. I do apologize. I'm getting my wits going on here. Watching these guys here at the Doghouse Cup Series, and it's been a good race watching these guys. It was a little rough there at the beginning there, Sam, with the tires and everything, but it seems like these guys settled down here. We got a pit stop cycling around, but now my worriment is the guys getting new tires, adjusting your cars, because this is an open setup. Hopefully they don't make the car any tighter or looser. You know, it all depends on what they do.
That's the risk of making adjustments. You might think one's going to help you, the other might just be costly to a good finish for yourself and completely throw away the handling for your car. Still had 3 drivers that need to enter pit road, being Michael Hayes, Adam Gardner, Michael Dow, as well as going to be Andrew St. Cyr, who just finished up his stop, as that was Joe McKnight, who found himself being the last driver to hit pit road. And now over the radio, the 50 machine is going to make his stop, as well as Gardner saying he's going to hit pit road. Michael Hayes, last driver out there to make his stop, is the lead driver, and no surprise, last driver to hit pit road. And Robert, we were doing the math, looked like lap 90 could be the stop for the 22 machine, but really at any moment from here to the end of the race is a good position for himself to make this stop.
Yeah, and we've seen Michael Hayes have speed here in that 22. I don't know. I mean, you said lap 90 here, Sam, so we're already on lap 85. If he can push it to lap 90, I would imagine that's probably what what he's shooting for here, as long as he doesn't lose too much time.
I agree. Not losing too much time is the big factor, and each lap that he stays out, he's losing more and more time. And
we having audio issues?
No, I was about to sneeze. I had to go hit that mute button. I didn't want to.
Okay. Hey, no problem, ladies and gentlemen.
Allergy season is a killer one.
Oh, I'm with you right now here. Thank God we're down in Texas and it's nighttime, because the allergies should be calming down here in the booth for us, but they're not, ladies and gentlemen.
No, they're not at all, as everything's starting to bloom over here. So every once in a while, you got to slam the mute button instead of absolutely rattling everyone's ears.
It's okay. You scared me. I was like, oh man, we lost Sam now.
No, I'm still here, luckily. Michael Hayes, that 22 machine. Every lap that he stays out, he's losing about 1.5 seconds to almost 2 seconds. He finally hits pit road. I think this is a little bit too late. He probably should have hit pit road 3 laps ago, but he's going to now hit this stop, and now it's going to be the critical time of who can run down. Going to be Brandon Fetterplace in the 20 machine and Andrew St. Cyr. Those are going to be the top 2 drivers. Fetterplace has a little bit of work to do. It's a 2-second difference between 2nd and 3rd place now of St. Cyr that's going to be taking over the lead, and going to be 2nd place of Fetterplace here very shortly. But those are my two drivers to watch out for, but caution flag is out. This resets everything.
Well, everything we just said, that just worked out for Michael Hayes. Bing, bang, boom. He just pitted. He's going to come out and probably take the lead if these guys, decide to make it, pit stop and get fresh tires if they have a set. But Yeah, unfortunately, who was involved in that? Looks like the 27.
It's going to be the 27 of Christopher Simon and the 14 of Mark Dumont getting into one another. I believe it's the second time for the both of them, and it's going to be through the quad oval. Going to be set 3 wide. We saw how this wasn't a good idea before, and Simon is the one that snaps loose into the 14.
Look out.
And luckily locks it down. Everyone else able to get by. There was St. Core, our leader, in second place, and everyone else behind him. And this yellow flag reset it. It's going to be a mad dash now as the whole entire field. Some have already used their last set of tires. Rest of the field, they've got 1 set left. Do you use it now, or do you hope another caution happens later?
Well, that's the question, but we're watching this here just one more time here, Sam, as we should tell everybody about the Clip It tool. That they can use on YouTube here, but you can see that thing just stepped right out on him. I wonder if there's too much wheel or too, like I said, maybe the car was too loose for him.
I mean, also for Simon, he just got fresh tires. Those older tires can catch you at moments, or maybe you're not used to that little bit of a slide motion that you have. It's slightly different on cold tires compared to new, as the 12 machine of Andrew St. Coeur stops and waits for the pace car to catch up.
Oh, okay. I was like, what did happen to him?
I think he's fuel saving. I think that may be the call of just gas it up and then get as far as you can and let the rest of the field catch up.
Okay. Everybody take notes on that.
No, don't take notes on that. There are some leagues that will not allow you to do that.
Okay, so well, I'm still
you gotta look at the loopholes that you can.
Okay, okay. Yeah, you got good point, Sam. Good point. I was just thinking in my head, if I was a driver out there watching the broadcast, I'd be like, yo, wait, what? Okay, is this what he's doing? We can't actually say that's what he was doing, but yeah, I mean, we'll let it at that.
There's some moves. Christopher Simon's gonna make his stop into pit road. As if you're just joining us right now, we'll bring up the race report of how this race has been going here tonight. As you're watching on Thursday evening, the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. This is race number 9, and currently we've had 5 cautions, 7 lead changes, and a lot of those cautions happened in the first, I would say, 45, 50 laps of this race. They got to have almost the whole entire fuel cycle. Technically did finish. Just the yellow came out right when it finished for the drivers. And now we're going to be in a stint with about 30 laps to go. And the question of who's going to have the best run to finish out this race. Zach Hall was initially with me up in the booth. He should be here shortly as he's had a little bit of power outage. Robert Moyer Jr. running double duty now in the booth with me, commentating and running productions. As see, the weather has calmed down just by 1 degree for both air temperature and track temperature. The humidity has moved up 10 degrees the last time that we saw it. And the field, well, they're setting up 30-lap dash, and tires are slightly different for everyone. The big advantage, Michael Hayes is going to have a 7-lap advantage over Fetter Place and Andrew St. Coeur.
And that's huge. 7 laps difference here, the way the banking is here at Texas and everything. That's going to be a huge thing there for him, Sam. But, before I take down the weather, I just get a big kick out of that, be able to know in sim time. It's 8:32, and we look at that weather for the very last time. It's prime conditions. The tires are going to grip just perfectly. The engines, not a lot of humidity out there. The wind is, it's okay. But
it's fluctuating.
Yeah, but, I think right now, these cars should run at prime peak, of the way they have them set up. So we'll see, and you said 7-lap difference on tires. And he's starting in 3rd position yet too, Sam. So we'll have to see how this all plays out, because this is going to get very interesting.
It certainly is. And a major driver we got to talk about and watch out for, Kevin Thompson, once again, doing a odd strategy compared to what the rest of his competition is doing, because he's won 3 races and he's seen a lot of his competition kind of out of this race or not running well. The 6th, trying a gutsy call, going to restart back in 20th. Just use, I believe, his last set of tires for the night. We'll see how well the 6 can push his way forward, as we've been given an extra lap to work with to kind of give some fresh air for the drivers to get themselves set up for this run. Again, this caution came out in the middle of the pit cycle finishing, so there was some complications on who was what in what position, who needs to get their lap back or not. So they're trying to give an extra lap just to make sure that they're in the right positioning for now. But our front five are in the right spots. That's Andrew St. Cour, Brandon Fetterplace, Michael Hayes, Christopher Norris, and Nicholas Atwood. Freshest tires goes to Michael Hayes. Christopher Norris has the second freshest tires of those top five. And then fifth, second, and first, all with much older tires than Christopher Norris and Christopher Norris and Hayes. It's going to be one of the trickier restarts, I think, for this field and the rest of this race if we stay green, because those fresher tires are going to be massive and critical to who's winning this race here tonight.
I agree with everything you said there, Sam, but eventually we'll have Zach Hall back here as he's back after his little glitch that he had here. But if you're enjoying tonight's show here at the Doghouse Cup Series here at Texas Motor Speedway here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, don't forget to hit that like, share button to your favorite social media platforms, to your friends, to your family. It helps the league out, it helps us out, Major League. And Sam will go in a little bit of detail, if he can, later about the Clip It tool that they have on YouTube that you can clip some highlights. But we're going to soon send it back to you here, Sam, and Zach should be eventually ready here.
Yeah, I believe Zach is here with us. Zach, caution flag comes out right when the pit cycle ends. Currently, you've got Andrew St. Cour, 12-lap old tires. That Fetterplace, 11-lap old tires. Norris, 10-lap old tires. Hayes, just 4 laps. Caution came out right when he finished up his pit stop. And then 14-lap old tires for Shell and 11 for Atwood. So top contenders, mixed bag of what lap they decide to get tires on. But we're back to green flag racing. Here we go, Zach. We're back at it.
It's going to be wild with a mixed bag of strategies here. Michael Hayes might have had this one gift wrap for him here. We'll see. He needed this tonight here after losing the points at Bristol. Now battling for third with Christopher Norris on those tires.
As they continue to battle back and forth. Other drivers of note to talk about also, Kevin Thompson back in 15th. He came into pit road, believe he used his final set of tires with 30 laps to go. Gutsy called for the 6th, but I think he's got a feeling this race has a chance to stay green as we continue to race on. The major drivers to watch out for our top 2 as Fetterplace, St. Cour, they're getting right back to where they were at before the pit cycle started.
That they are. They're getting right back to battle. And Fetterplace looked really, really good on that last run. Let's see if he can try to get back out front, but he's going to have to do it quickly because Kevin Thompson is going to be quickly coming on those new tires. This is going to be quite the run here if we do stay green. And if it does stay green, Kevin Thompson's going to look like a genius while the rest of the guys are going to be scratching their head.
Yeah, if you're Michael Hayes, you have to just attack mode. You need to make these passes quickly because Kevin Thompson's going to be on your back bumper if you do not make these passes as efficiently as that one was. That was a perfect pass for the 22. Now going to be up to speed. This is the advantage when you're 2 laps into a run where you love to have the fresher tires because everyone else is going to be starting to feel that looseness, the rear end slipping away a lot sooner than everyone else. But the rest of the field set and ready to go as the laps tick away here tonight. It's going to be a mad dash to see who can get into victory lane with the timings of these yellows. But right now, it's Cour, Fetterplace, as well as Hayes, your top 3 as they go down into turn number 3.
I tell you what, if you ask, are these guys pushing right now for everything? Well, I tell you what, they are because Fetterplace hits the wall coming off a 2. Same almost for St. Cour as they see Hayes 2/10 faster. Now running the fastest lap of the night here. As you can see that purple lap time popping up to the top right of our screen. He's going to be quickly gaining now as he gets closer.
And as you were always at, we look at the weather, everything has dropped down at least a degree, but the humidity has gone up 10%. So the track is changing for the drivers, maybe for some to their best liking as the lights are on, the sun is gone, and the moon is out to see who can maybe steal the show from the 12th machine. Kevin Thompson has now moved up to 12th position as he's stuck in a mosh podge of just different drivers trying to survive at this moment as their top 3 are in their own zip code right now. And you see that gaggle of cars mixed and mingled in it. It's the 6th of Kevin Thompson.
That it is Kevin Thompson here trying to mix his way through as now he's going to dart to the outside, try to follow this 10 through. But the big thing for Thompson right now is, yes, he's got the fresher tires of the grouping up ahead of him, but he just doesn't really have too many places to go. As Eric Anderson, who's around with him, is just doing a good job of running this bottom group, getting past Gerber. It's just not on the 6 to get stuff done. Now the 10 is even going to block it off. So again, another lap of just the 6 having late behind.
I mean, I think if you're everyone in this pod of drivers, you recognize we have to stop the 6 as we're fighting for position. So you might have to slot yourself in a spot that maybe wasn't helping you go for the win, but you're willing to defend and hold back the 6 machine as much as possible. But we have to see, yes, the action is great for Kevin Thompson trying to crack into our top 10, but for the lead, our top 3, all within a tenth of one another, 3 tenths in total. They're catching up to Christopher Simon, a lap down driver that's just trying to stay at least just 1 lap down, will not lose another lap for the 27 if possible. But this is a chance for Michael Hayes. Take these spots, or do you settle in and let the other drivers kind of use up their rubber? You think that maybe you take these spots immediately, but as you ride on board with Fender Place, maybe you don't be too aggressive at this moment.
You very well could, try to allow maybe Hayes to get up here and ruffle the feathers of the 12 to allow an easier pass for yourself. But my fear would be you let someone with fresher tires out in front of you, it is going to be very hard to get back by them. Now, we haven't seen Hayes have, race-winning speed, so to say, on these runs here tonight. It's really been kind of a methodical strategy race from him. But, with the fresher tires, anything is possible, they say.
Yeah, I mean, immediately qualified deep in the field, qualified for Michael Hayes back in the 27th position. You never really cracked out inside of the top 20 when they were green. Everyone's on the same set of tires. Immediately had to go off strategy to make sure the 22 had a chance to even, with the off strategy plan, to have a fighting chance for a win or a top finish. And right now, the cards have lined up perfectly. The timing of the yellows have given Michael Hayes a chance. Tries to go down below. Fender Place cuts it off, and they'll stay in line for now. And for Kevin Thompson, he is inside of the top 10. He's up to 8th place. And the big thing for Kevin Thompson, 3 seconds back. If you're Hayes, you recognize, okay, I've got maybe about 10 laps to give up here, but you can't give up any more than that. Otherwise, you might not even have a chance to fight for a win.
You very well are very, very right about that, Sam. As Thompson is making his way through, trying to go as fast as possible. Hayes now up front is finally to the inside of Fender Place, so he may be able to try to get this done, as this is going to be crucial for Michael Hayes. Now up to 2nd, he's going to set his sights on Andrew St. Cyr, and could Michael Hayes get his first win of the season? This very well. What a rebound that would be, and what a story that would be for him too after Bristol last week. Just such a tough run to bounce back, lose the points lead, and get your first win after that.
The first 7 weeks of the season, Michael Hayes was the most consistent driver of anyone. That's why he had the points lead going into our 2-week break. But the 22 comes back, has his worst finish last week at Bristol. Well, tonight, it's a chance to get his first win of the season and maybe a chance to steal back the points lead with Kevin Thompson back in 8th, with also seeing the likes of Jonathan Jennings going to have a 37th position finish here tonight. The 22 seeing a chance to grab some massive points, and now a chance to steal the top point of it all, the lead, as the 12 gonna cut off that spot for now. Michael Hayes setting up for the exit of the corner as they blitz on by. It's 2.5 seconds back. Kevin Thompson, and Hayes finally gets his bumper to the inside of the 12. Fresher tires, no longer has to worry about the fight. It's now on to side by side. The 12, 22, Hayes able to make the push forward. Fender Place trying to give a bump, blocked by the 22 machine as they head down to turn number 3.
Great job by Hayes there, very methodical on the bottom, and it was the 12 who made the mistake trying to get down to the door of the 22 and not allow the 22 to have the room on the exit. It made that car get loose. That 12 stepping out on the rear end now, trying to fight for second and just hold on to anything he possibly can, because right now Michael Hayes, he looks to be set to drive away.
But a lap and a half of battling gave up another half a second to Kevin Thompson Thompson now just 2.2 seconds back. The 6 machine is up to 5th. He's got Jeremy Richmond and ahead of him in the 48 machine. Then he's got clear space to work with, and Thompson is not being patient. It is every spot. If he's got a chance to throw his bumper to the inside, he's taking it. The 6 has now got clean space, and he's running down the 2 drivers he thought were going to be the favorites to win here tonight. Fetter Place, St. Coeur, watch out. They've got the 6 machine about to be bearing down on them in the next 5 laps.
I tell you what, Michael Hayes' best friends would be the drivers behind him need to hold him off, because we'll get to see what the true pace is on these 2, because it's going to be pretty much clean air for both of them at this point. And that time there with the pass even that Thompson was making, he was about 200s quicker. He's going to need more than that. So we'll get to really see, I think, on this lap here, truly, if this 6 has something in the bag to run him down.
Who is going to have the true speed to watch out? It has been fantastic racing to watch for all of these drivers. Thank you again for joining with us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting as the field is trying to see who is going to get the win here tonight. Michael Hayes trying to get his win here tonight. Debut race for this series. For himself this season. We're coming in as a rookie. Hayes has just shown out, being a threat to these veterans that have been here since season 1, season 2 of the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. And now tonight, trying to grab his first official win. He's finished second so many times in the past. He's finished second back, if you look at Iowa, Las Vegas, and now tonight, a chance for a win as his competitors still in the back bumper, but you just have a sense, Zach, it's going to be down to Michael Hayes making a massive kind of self problem and falling apart with a major mistake that's going to cost them a win here tonight.
It very well could be that mistake that, comes back to bite him here, but he's just got to focus ahead. He cannot look in his mirror. He knows those drivers behind him maybe have had the pace over him all night when it comes to even tires, but he's got to think, you have clean air. You have the fresher tires. Don't think about Thompson, because Thompson has got to get around the other 2. So right now, it's one of those situations as a driver, you're just kind of clearing those voices out of your head, trying to be smooth as possible.
8 laps to go, 7.5 practically at this moment, and Michael Hayes has the lead over second place by 0.3. It's another half a second back to third, and less than a second and a half between first and Kevin Thompson. Thompson, the freshest tires of anyone on course, on the restart, was mired all the way back in 20th position. The 6 has been climbing for this 28-lap stint. And now the 6 machine, he smells the blood. He sees the chance of making these passes, but also looming behind him, there's a chance of a wreck. There's still about 3 or 4 big cluster of drivers that are on top of one another, that any little slip up could become costly.
That it would be, and if there is a slip up, I think pit road gets kind of busy here for sure, with everybody having 1 set left. And then you might have another mixed bag of strategy with some guys farther back not wanting to pit. So pit road would be crazy if we got a yellow, but Michael Hayes, I think, doing everything he needs to right now. He's just got to hope that those 2 in that second and third place position at least hold him up a little bit. But look at this group battle.
Attacking is Jonathan Smith. It's going to be Halsey as well as Millette. And Smith and Halsey not giving any space. The 57 trying to hold on, and he'll do so. We stay green, not giving an inch. And they somehow stay green. But I got a feeling this race, again, the last for this season, half of the races that have been ran, we have gone to overtime. There's always a chance of that late race yellow, and if we have one from here until the white flag, we go into overtime. But if Michael Hayes sees that white flag in the air, this race becomes official. But 1 driver down, Kevin Thompson, about a second back after getting by Fetter Place.
He did a great job of getting that past him super quickly, but with 4 to go, it could very well come down even to the top 2, a little bit of racing going on, because if they race, it's going to slow them down that much more. This is going to maybe come down to a 3-horse race, and they're going to be coming to 3 to go here out of 4.
You got 2 drivers trying to get their first win of the season, and Kevin Thompson trying to grab his 4th and become the most winningest driver so far this season, and no longer be tied with Jonathan Jennings. And now the difference down to 0.8 between Thompson and Michael Hayes. The difference, though, between second and third is 0.7. As Michael Hayes looks forward, it's clean and green track, but at the moment behind him, it's chaos of where will the 12 try to place himself, but it looks like St. Court's tires are faded away. The 12 is starting to drift back to the clutches of the 6, and now it's an equal distance gap with 2 laps to go. It looks to be too far for Kevin Thompson. Hayes just has to hit his perfect marks and hope this race stays green.
That's the biggest thing I think here, Sam. He just wants to see a white flag. If he gets there, I think he's done it. I think he's got the gap. I think he's done this exactly to the T. Is right here out of 4. It's going to be close, guys.
The teammates battle for second, but up front ahead of them, the 22, Michael Hayes, takes the white flag. This race is official. St. Court, Kevin Thompson gives second place to Thompson. The gap a half a second. It's too far back. Thompson not able to make the pass, but Hayes, who's fought and climbed all season long, had his biggest blemish of the season last week at Bristol, where he had his worst finish. But tonight, a week later, from one of his worst finishes to his best, Michael Hayes, winner here at the Texas Shindig 180 for race number 9 of the season.
What a job. What a way to rebound after a terrible race last week from him. He comes back here to Texas and gets his first win of the season. And through adversity, man, 27th to 1st.
Absolute incredible to see that mental fortitude. You got to think last week was just an utter meltdown for Michael Hayes. He had his before tonight. Last week was Michael Hayes' worst qualifying and worst finish. He qualified 21st and then he finished 29th last week. Tonight has even a worse qualifying at 27th and then finds himself getting the win. Congratulations to Michael Hayes in the 22. Finally can say that he's a winner, no longer just second fiddle. And as he leaves here tonight, the points are going to be just a little bit closer. As with Jonathan Jennings having a poor night, Kevin Thompson not able to move up to second. They're going to be seeing a lot of who's got the top dog to horse to worry about as the second half of this second half of this season is going to continue. But for us here tonight, we are going to step away. When we come back, we'll talk to our top 3 in a spotlight driver. Whoo, was that some fun racing to watch here tonight. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Thursday night. My name is Sam Dyer. With me in the booth is Zach Hall, Robert Moyer Jr. running productions. In the background, you just got to see the Texas Shindig 180. What a race we got to see here tonight as we head to victory lane. We got the 22 Michael Hayes with us. Michael, how are you feeling after last week? One of your worst performances we've seen finish-wise to now victory lane a week later. This is gotta be a fun swing to have for yourself.
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy race, but yeah, luckily the strategy worked out throughout the race. I was trying to keep up with where everybody was at, but it was really hard. So I just kind of stuck to my own kind of strategy, and the cautions flew at the right time. And I don't want to say I got lucky, but I kind of got lucky, I guess.
Well, I guess you'll take lucky tonight, Michael, for sure, man. Great rebound after last week at Bristol, of course, to get the victory. I mean, when you come into qualifying and you qualify 27th, what is the mindset going in from there?
Yeah, I don't know what happened on qualify because in practice it felt a whole lot different than what it did at qualifying. Because sent it down into 1 and 2 and it just got tight on me and I just hit the wall. But I knew I had good race speed, so I wasn't too worried about it. But it was just trying my best to make it through the field without getting involved in anything along the way. Because I mean, starting back there in 20 something, it's pretty challenging.
I mean, it certainly looked like it was a mess anywhere in the middle of the field during this race at all times, but you finally get that win. Kind of reset yourself. We're now going to heading to Richmond. Going to be Talladega and Dover, our next three races. What's the confidence level now with getting this win and heading into those next three races?
Yeah, I've been enjoying the Cup car a lot. So Richmond's a pretty good track for me. Dega's always a crapshoot. Uh, and Dover, I don't even think I ran the Cup cars at Dover, so that'll be new.
Well, we cannot wait to see how you're going to run there, Michael. Congratulations again on this win, and the floor is now yours for any more shout-outs.
Yeah, shout out to my team, Ghost Motorsports. Shout out to Jeremy Richmond for racing tonight. This is his first race tonight. I think he got top 5, so congratulations to him. Glad to have him out here. And yeah, shout out to the league. That was a fun race.
Certainly was a blast. Congratulations, Michael, on this win. Enjoy it, and good luck next week at Richmond.
All right, thank you guys. Have a good night.
You too. That'll be your winner in the 22 machine, Michael Hayes. As we move down to second, it was a fight. It was a grueler, and had to defend his teammate. We go to second place with Andrew St. Cours. Andrew, you try to find yourself in victory lane. You were in the toughest spot, oldest tires of anyone up there in our top 5. What was it like driving and trying to compete with other drivers with fresher rubber?
Just really all I could do at that point was push as hard as I could and try to keep the lead and hopefully hope for a caution. I mean, it would have been the only caution I actually would have hoped for all night. I definitely did not want to see the other one that came out before that. But yeah, really, that's all I could do. I think I hit 10 laps on my tires when we cycled through that pit cycle, and Michael came out in third and fresh tires. So I knew really Brandon and I were probably just sitting ducks for Michael, unless we had a caution, 10 to go sort of thing, which in that would have, I think, put him on about 20, 22 lap tires. Which I was kind of, honestly, that's what I was kind of hoping for. And then that way we could have pitted and maybe he would have come in too, and we could have all raced on fresh or the same tires. But it is what it is. But yeah, really excited to bring it home second tonight. It's a good run.
Definitely a great run, Andrew. Showed speed all night long, man, and definitely unfortunate with how the strategy played out for you there with the cautions. But were you surprised to be even that close to Michael with 2 to go and 3 to go almost? I mean, you were still almost right there having a shot at victory, even with the older tires.
Yeah, I wish I hadn't have tried to do what I did with 2 to go. I rode in a little higher through 1 and 2 and did the same thing, kind of a later arc in 3 and 4. And then he kind of pulled another 10th or 2 on me in those situations. for a couple laps, probably with 4 to go, maybe 5 to go, I was actually coming back to him. And if I had have just stayed running the line I was running the whole run, I may have had something to get to him. I don't know if I ever would have got by him, but it would have been really nice to see, could have at least had a run off 4, even 2 wide to the finish to see what we could have done. But I was just trying to get a nice run off of 1 or off 2 and off 4 on that one lap, and really kind of took any opportunity I had at that point away, as you would have seen. So, but yeah, no, he had a really good run, and I don't even know, he might have been just being conservative too, and he seemed conservative for a good 10 laps in that run, to get by Brandon and then myself. Really just letting the heat get in the tires, and he raced smart, and he definitely deserved that win.
I mean, Andrew, we talked to you last week about the upcoming schedule, the next 3 races. You sounded very confident about for your team at Talladega and for yourself on the ways that you were going to be running here tonight and the next couple of weeks. How are you feeling knowing that you're, within touching distance to go for a championship run, but your championship contenders are also running around you? What is the mental for the rest of the second half of the season, trying to go for that championship push?
I have to get a win, and I have to get a couple, and probably have to get 3 in fairness, especially with Michael and Kevin, the way they've been running. There's a fairly significant gap, I think, now from I'm not sure if I would have moved into third after this race, but I saw Jennings drop from the race. So I suspect I probably moved into third, but of course, Michael and Kevin are the 2 ahead of me, and they both had really strong runs again tonight. So unless I'm getting wins at this point, my chances of actually getting a championship are probably, the reality is probably low. So I have to get some wins, and really not miss any more races. But when it comes to Talladega, Kevin and I, we will be working. So, and along with the rest of Twisted Axle, and we do have we're pretty confident there, as you would have seen early in the season at Daytona with the duels with Adam and whatnot. We've had a lot of success at Super Speedway. I think Twisted Axle next week can definitely we'll have a strong showing, and hopefully one of us can bring it home.
Certainly looks like you guys are going to be favorites when we head to Talladega. But Andrew, congratulations on second. We can't wait to see how you're going to run for the rest of the season. But the floor is now yours for any more shout-outs.
Yeah, thanks for the great broadcast again tonight. And I just want to shout out to Daniel, the rest of Twisted Axle. Kevin had another strong run. Nick and Adam. I think Adam had a bit of trouble tonight, unfortunately, but yeah, shout out to those fellows. It's always they always spend a lot of time working on the sets with us and getting it ready for the race. And then thanks for those viewers out there. I know I have some family. I think BMAC was watching tonight, and shout out to Kev's father. He's always watching as well, and that's pretty well it. Thank you.
Well, that will be your second place finisher in the 12 machine of Andrew St. Cour, who's going to be coming away with a solid finish and open for better ones moving on forward. Congratulations, Andrew, and good luck next week at Richmond.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. As we move from second place, we head down to third, where we bring up Kevin Thompson, who was probably the funnest driver to watch because every time he was in fresh rubber, he was climbing through the field. Kevin, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. Congratulations on a third place finish. I know that's not the position you were hoping for tonight's run and how fast that 6 machine was, but how are you feeling after the 2 massive pushes through the field that you had here this evening?
It was a fun race, but I beat myself up for pitting. I should have just stayed out front and pitted with everybody else. I thought with pitting and I could just, with all the cautions, it messed up my strategy and to pit one last time and everybody else had to pit twice, but it didn't work out. I'll take the third. It was fun driving through the pack. At one point there, I thought I was going to get caught up in a wreck. But other than that, I want to apologize to the 20 for getting into them at the end there. I locked up my tires. I'm not that kind of driver. So I'll take a third place. I know the points are going to be tight going into the next race, but it is what it is. Definitely another good run, Kevin. Out there and showed a lot of speed. I mean, you talked about the strategy with all the yellows. How hard was it to keep up with the strategy tonight?
Uh, it was hard at the beginning of the race, but when it started going with caution and then about 15, 20, 25 laps, caution, just I had to start another strategy and just pit whenever everybody else pitted.
It certainly looked like it was tough to make those right calls, especially with those cautions and the way they were lining up. But Kevin, after tonight's run, I believe you should still be in the lead position in points, but we're heading to Richmond, Talladega, Dover. We talked to Andrew about Talladega. The team feels pretty confident about that run, but all the other racetracks of us heading to Richmond and Dover, what's the confidence level at those short tracks that you never know what could happen at those courses?
Yeah, Richmond, I won here. I won in this league before at Richmond, and then Talladega, Twisted Axle, Super Speedways. We get hooked up. We're going to the front. Dover, I got to do some work with. I'm decent there, but I burn my right front up so fast there, though.
Well, Kevin, we cannot wait to see how you're going to perform at those tracks. I know it's going to be for some tough, others. We can't wait to see how well you're going to run. But for tonight, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Shout out to all the people that watch us every week. B Mac, my father, my rest of my family. Y'all putting on a great broadcast for all the people that race in the league. Great racing, clean racing. Daniel for putting us on, and that's about it.
Well, that will be the sixth machine of Kevin Thompson coming away with third place finish here tonight. Congratulations, Kevin, and good luck next week at Richmond.
Thank you.
As we move from third place, we go down to fourth. Had two fantastic debut races from our debut drivers, from the likes of seeing Brandon Fetter place up front for the majority of the night, but we also had fourth place finisher Jeremy Richmond. Jeremy, this 48 machine was inside the top 5 all night long. Man, how is it feeling debut race when you have this strong a performance?
I mean, I picked a good one to be my first race. I love Texas. My home in real life is actually a mile off of turn 3, so I love this track, and that helps because a lot of people don't like 1 and 2, so it feeds into my driving style for sure.
Definitely seemed to play that way, Jeremy, man. Congrats on the great debut here tonight at Doghouse. How was it keeping up with the strategy tonight? We see a lot of different guys playing different ones, and it seemed to really shake up the field there at the end.
Yeah, so those cautions early on kind of, I don't know, it was just weird. I didn't know really when to pit. I think I ended up pitting at a decent time, but I think Michael was on the better strategy. But I was so far up, I just didn't want to be back in that hornet's nest back there. So I just tried to stay up front as much as I could. But my strategy I got lucky on that last caution because I looped it, did a 360 going into pit road because I was catching the leaders before that green flag pit stop. And if I wouldn't have made a rookie mistake there, I think I would have been battling with Brandon and the 12 car for the win there.
I mean, Jeremy, I got two questions for you. One is, what was it like waiting for you to get into this series? Because you've been waiting for a while in that waiting list to finally get the opportunity to race with these guys. And also, what's the confidence level going into these next couple of races as we have Richmond, Talladega, and Dover coming up for ourselves?
So waiting, I didn't actually have to wait that long. My buddy Michael, shout out to him for winning the race. He told me about this league. We're in a couple of other discords together, so we've raced a lot, and I've actually raced a lot of these guys in other different stuff, whether it's Xfinity trucks, other leagues, officials. So I knew most of these guys. Probably I would say like 65 or 70%, which is a lot to join a league and know that many people right off the bat. But I kind of just got lucky, I guess, and didn't have to wait but a couple of weeks to get in here. As far as the next 3 races, Richmond I love with the good racing that this league puts on, I'm actually looking really forward to that track because I'm a rhythm racer, and man, if we can get some green flag runs, I'm confident that I'll be. I don't think I have winning pace at short tracks, but I can, do something on long runs for sure. And with the green flag pit stops, if that ever happens, and then Talladega is crapshoot. I'm good at those tracks, but it's you're basically throwing dice if you're gonna finish the race or not. And then what did you say, Dover? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's another good track. I love that. I love the tracks where you have to, you can run hot laps, but you also have to save tires. Like tonight, it was really grippy, but you still had to save tires. You couldn't just go out there and blast, qualifying laps, or you were going to fall back. And that's how I was able to make up some ground on those late green flag runs there.
Well, we cannot wait to see how you're going to perform for the rest of the second half of the season, Jeremy. It was a pleasure to watch your incredible run for a top 5 finish in 4th place here tonight. And before we officially let you go, the floor is now yours for any more shout-outs.
Well, I like to. I've watched y'all's broadcasts on other YouTube. So, to you guys, my painter that paints all my cars, my Bucky's car, I'm sure was looking good under the lights tonight. So I'm looking forward to going back and watching the broadcast. And then my wife, she always rides on my door, but she's awesome. Let me do this crap. Not many wives will be, not nice to let you do this. So it's nice to have that support to do something I like. Anyway, thanks for the broadcast, and we'll catch you guys next week.
We can't wait to see how you're going to perform next week, Jeremy. Congratulations on 4th. Enjoy it, and good luck next week at Richmond.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Well, from our interviews, we get ready to take a look at our unofficial results for tonight's race. As the drivers here tonight, for some, it would call it a shock, maybe a steal. Strategy calls had to change it up to even have a chance to be up front. And Michael Hayes had the change up of not taking tires early as the rest of his competition did, waited to be the very last person to take tires, got the help of the timing of the late caution during the green flag pit stops, enabled the 22 to have the freshest of rubber to get up front and win here tonight over some of his toughest competitors. Evander St. Cour going to finish in 2nd, Kevin Thompson 3rd. Newcomers going to be Jeremy Richmond, as well as Brandon Fetterplace going to be 4th and 5th. Christopher Norris finishes 6th. Kevin Powell 7th. 8th goes to Jamie Horn. Nicholas Atwood 9th, and finishing our top 10. Good recovery run based off of last week. It's Eric Anderson in that 43 machine.
Definitely a good run there for Eric Anderson. And few others definitely having some good runs. There is Jonathan Smith with a few moments tonight in the 99. He's going to bring it home in that 4th position. And also you see Daniel Wilkerson break into a top 20 there late to the race, going to get into the 19th along with Joe McKnight. They're 20th involved in a few incidents. So good to see him get a top 20 there. But definitely as we go farther through this list, a few guys that definitely their nights ended a little bit early here. As you can see the likes of Mike Leftwich down there, Mark Dumont, Justin McMahon, they had to call it quits early. But other drivers such as Christopher Simon or Nate Walensky on their return having some mistakes here tonight that really took them out.
Biggest shock, early disconnection. Jonathan Jennings came in tonight 3rd in points and within still striking distance to go for a championship run. Going to be having his worst finish of the season, 37th. That is a very poor running with the amount of drivers that showed up here tonight. It's a big loss on points, but you're just asking for some help at this late in this middle portion of the season. It's minimize the mistakes. And for Michael Hayes, he was able to rebound after his mistake from last week. We're going to have to see that from Jonathan Jennings next week. He needs a win to get back into the fight.
He really does, man. I tell you, that finishing position, like you said, Sam, is going to do a heavy blow with the amount of cars we had here tonight. He's going to get very little points from that finishing position, and we'll see coming back next week when we show the standings from the start of the race. We get to see how much it really did affect that 91 team.
Well, tonight, 120 laps in the books, but our racing schedule kind of sad. We're moving away from having 4. We're going to be down to just 2 races next week to cover, as we will only have Monday night and Thursday night, as Tuesday and Wednesday, that being the BRB Cup Series and WSSR's Cup Series, both have concluded. We're left with the ISRC Truck Series. This upcoming Monday, you do not want to miss. The Truck Series are taking the trucks to Lime Rock Park, a track that's not meant for trucks to race at. We have not seen this truck combination since season 1. That's going to be a fun one to watch. And then also, we're going to be seeing on Thursdays next week, Richmond, here for the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. I think next week's going to be a tough one. Richmond, it's going to be 180 lap short track racing, and Zach, short track racing, it's a toss up, especially Richmond. It can be a long green flag run for most of the race, maybe a couple of cautions here or there, or we're going to see cautions all night long.
You're exactly right about that, Sam. It goes one or the other, really. So we'll see how it plays out. Expecting a good run from these guys. The open setup stuff has been awesome to see throughout this season play out, and cool to see Michael Hayes get his first victory this season after such a consistent run, like you said, to start off the season. It's been really, really fun to watch.
Well, it's one way to wipe away a blemish is just to blatantly win and outshine it the week after. And Michael Hayes did just that. The 22 machine going to grab his first career Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series win. And it's here at Texas for the Texas Shindig 180. Congratulations, that 22 team and Twisted Axle finishing 2-3 for themselves. But for us here tonight, thanks for joining with us. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else that helps out at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Thank you for joining with us on your Thursday evening. Next week, the drivers try to tackle Richmond. Who can tackle the short tracks, high banking course that can also be a little bit too tough with these next-gen cars? You'll have to find out. But before then, don't want to miss it. Monday night, the ISRC Larry Art Productions Truck Series drivers head to Lime Rock Park. Sure, we're going to see some short track road course racing in a way, as the drivers will put down some blistering lap times. But who's going to stay on course? You're going to have to find out Monday night. It's going to be our next Freaky Fast broadcast.